Well, I'll go ahead and get started here a little bit. So, kind of the topics today is easing visitor concern and visitor engagement with mobile technology. And I'm joined by Stacy today, and I'm very excited. She is the marketing guru for Ivy Parks and Entertainment, and we're going to be specifically talking a little bit about her Indiana Beach location and how they've deployed some of our tech and kind of what the use cases are and the good and what we want to accomplish with it and things like that. But if you want to introduce yourself, Stacy, go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Yep, my name's Stacy Chrissy. I am part of Ivy Parks and Entertainment. We're going to be specifically talking about Indiana Beach today. However, we do have some other parks out in the New Jersey area and Niagara area as well. So we are a little bit multifaceted, but we are looking to launch here this summer with Indiana Beach.
Perfect. Next slide, pretty please, Anna. All right, so a little bit about Engage by Sell. Real quick, we've been in business for it says 16, but I think it might be 17 years now, and primarily focused the entire time on, excuse me, on mobile device-based technology. So how to turn all of these into a powerful engagement tool for visitors and employees and marketing communications and a whole multifaceted tool portfolio here on how we can help you kind of engage with mobile devices. Next slide, I'll let Stacy tell a little bit more details about Indiana Beach and IB Parks.
So yeah, Indiana Beach, I don't know how many of you, it looks like you're from the Nashville area, Cincinnati area, so you might not have heard of it. It's kind of this little gem in the middle of Indiana, Monticello, Indiana. It's a little bit of a unique park. It's right on Lake Schaefer, so we have a very long boardwalk. We house about 7 roller coasters going into the season, and a total of about 48 to 52 attractions ish will be in our package this summer. What makes us a little bit unique than some other amusement parks is that we have a massive campground where people have their summer homes. Basically, it's they're seasonal type campers, but we also have tents, RVs, cabins that people can rent that are right next to the park. Including with that, we also have parkside lodging where people can come and stay right on the lake. People bring their boats, people bring their water, their water vehicles, whatever they have. They go fishing, and the best part about it is they can walk right out of their lodging and walk right onto a Ferris wheel. So that makes us a little bit unique with some of us, in comparison to some of the other mid-level amusement parks out there. Another thing that we do is a summer concert series. So every year we bring in 6 acts, and we have a ballroom that holds maybe about 1,000 people. That our ballroom actually is pretty famous from back in the day. We've had Janis Joplin has played at the Indiana Beach Ballroom. So we have a lot of history going back there at the beach, and bring water ski shows, fireworks, all types of things. So although we are an amusement park, we have a little bit of extra bells and whistles, bringing into the market in that area.
I love it. I think it's really neat that it's on the water and on a boardwalk like that. And if you can't tell by what's behind me, I'm a big fisherman and enjoy all the time on the water. So I think the camping aspects and everything, it makes for a unique experience for sure. Next slide.
Sure. You can see in that picture as well that we have that it's called the Schaefer Queen. It's basically like a big paddle wheel boat. So when you're out there, you can just it's part of the experience at Indiana Beach. You can go out on half-hour rides on the lake. People love it. They go out there during our fireworks show and stuff. Right, Brittany? Yeah, it's a crazy place. It's kind of a little bit of something for everybody. It's only about 2 hours away from Chicago. It's kind of centrally located for a lot of people. So it's fun. It's a fun little vacation area in the summer for people. Sorry. Perfect. Go ahead.
You're all good. You're all good. I like it. All right, so this is just a kind of an overview of the different platforms that we're going to be talking about today, that Stacy's going to share some of her use cases, and I'm going to talk about kind of the actual capabilities and ask a bunch of questions and all of that. But the 3 platforms here are a text messaging platform, and that is a two-way text messaging platform. So, mass communication, one-on-one engagement, things like that. Mobile web apps, and we'll go into more detail, kind of the differences here between a mobile web app and maybe native apps that everybody's familiar with that you download from app stores. And then finally, and most exciting, in my opinion, is the GPS mapping capabilities. Pretty fantastic wayfinding tool that Stacy will share kind of her intentions and use case with that as well. Next slide. What we're going to go into first here is the text messaging. So if everybody could pretty please scan this QR code or text the words demo visit to 56512. And if you scan that QR code, and I'll go ahead and do it real quick with everybody, it will actually populate that text message into your messaging app. So all you have to do is hit send. And with that, we will be sending you a couple other little example use case text messages here on the next slide. So let's give it another second here. Let everybody scan in or text in. Okie dokie, Anna, if you want to jump onto the slide. And I have all of these questions for Stacy and all of the use cases that you have came up with. So first off, I want to kind of start with the kind of basics here, Stacy. So, you're deploying text messaging and you got to a little bit last season, and I kind of wanted to hear what tools you were using previously. And then I know the texting has been kind of new for you, but it's not a new idea necessarily, but kind of, have you seen better results? What were you doing before and what are you doing now with the texting, and what's that look like for you?
Yes. So before the texting, we were really doing nothing. So when people would come to the park, we had really no way to engage the visitors at the park for fun things, for update things, for lodging, for a number of things. When people are going around our park for the day, we really had no way of touching them, right? So there's a couple of different facets, like you want to improve your customer experience as much as possible. So, being engaged with them while they're actually at your property is a valuable thing to have. And we did find that this year we launched for, I think it was what did we launch about mid-July last year?
Yep.
We finally got it going. So we are a seasonal park. If I didn't mention that before, we are typically open, like this year we open on May 11th and we're open through Labor Day. So we have a pretty short window that we have our customers in front of us that we can do something with. So
Right.
in the middle of July, we launched the text messaging campaign, and basically what we did is I put it all over our social media. I put it all over our website, trying to get people just to join for purposes such as, hey, by the way, did you see we have a ski show this weekend? So instead of trying to reach them through a newsletter or our social media channels, everybody looks at texts, right? So we were able to engage a lot more people that wanted our information, to let them know, oh, I didn't know you guys were having the water ski show this weekend, let's go. So we were looking, that was the initial outside of the park case. Now, when they walked in the park, we created QR code, just like you kind of did there with the text demo or text whatever we had. Into our thing. And so when people would walk into the park, we would have a big, we did very minimal signage this year. Like I said, last year, we were testing it. We didn't, just like everybody else, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how people are going to react. And so we put some minimal signage around the park. We did like kind of A-frames as you're walking in the doors. People laugh and sort of, but we put like clings on our garbage cans. You guys have all been to amusement parks. Every 5 minutes, every 5 steps is a garbage can, and it's just this big blue can. So we threw clings on there because every kid is throwing away garbage all day long. And it said, text, get live updates while you're at the park. So people would come in. Sometimes we'd have, 25, sometimes we get 125 people that are texting in. And
what are some of those examples, like with the real-time notifications? I know that was kind of a big piece that you were excited about. I think you would use an example of if a ride goes down or something like that, you can have that real-time communication. during the actual visitor, time there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just about to touch. They've, when like two different examples we used is, we have the Cornball Express, for example, and it had to go down for maintenance, for 2 hours during the day. We would send out a text to people that were in the park that day. The whole world doesn't need to know our cornball is down for 2 hours for maintenance, but the people that are in the park, that's important to them, right? Like if you're in your
Right.
business, you want to be able to have that touch point. So we would be able to send that text message to them to say, hey, the cornball will be back up at 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Or for example, like our water park, sometimes, lifeguards is if any of you guys are in the amusement park world, you know that staffing challenges are one of the greatest challenges that amusement park industry has. Sometimes we wouldn't be able to open up all of our water attractions in one day. So we were able to hit those people that day to say, hey, by the way, at 1 o'clock, our Lazy River and Big Flush is opening. So we were able to kind of crowdsource people to where we wanted them to go around the park or give them those types of updates and communicate live when we were there.
Perfect.
The other way we were trying to use it, and this actually worked very well. So if you have this type of thing at your park or whatever type of business you have, is we would have like lodging, for example. I would have 2 beach clubs open, and I look and say, oh man, we have 2 beach clubs open tonight. I would send a text message and say, 2 beach clubs open on sale for $199, first come, first serve. And they would, boom, people would come to our accommodations and they would sign up, or they would get their spot right then and there. So that was a nice way to,
That's fantastic. Yeah.
yeah, to talk about the monetization side of it.
Mhm.
I mean, there's two pieces to that, obviously.
Yeah, I think
Going into
that
this,
builds on go up, sorry. That builds on kind of my next point too, is the monetizing during off season as well. And that's probably what you were getting at, right? And I
yeah,
think Anna has an example text message she can push out to everybody who scanned in about season passes and things like that. And that's really the key piece, I think, where a lot of marketing happens for facilities and businesses like yours, is all this off season, you still want to keep them engaged during that time, right? And so that's
exactly.
probably the big challenge.
And I will tell you, I mean, like I I was actually shocked. Not that I didn't believe you, Max, because I do believe you, but I was actually shocked to see that we'll send out, let's say we send out an email about season passes to 85,000 people. All right. So then, we have a like let's the average click rate on a newsletter, let's say we get 10% link clicks, right? The link clicks that we get on our text messages is like 90%. Like
Yeah.
I was complete that
Yeah.
was what I was completely shocked with. Like I couldn't believe the link clicks we got on our texts. That was like the biggest eye-opening thing to me.
And that is a key point that I always bring up. And it's very, like you said, you wanted to believe me, and it's you have to see it to believe it. But it is kind of statistically speaking, and what we see oftentimes, I'm talking to a bunch of people here that are probably very familiar with marketing, but if you get 20-25% open read respond rates, you've knocked it out of the park with email, right?
Oh,
I mean,
heck
you're
yeah.
killing it, right? Versus this text messaging, you experience 90%, we see 95% all the time. It's just the most effective way to deliver that message and guarantee that somebody is actually opening and reading it. And
Yep.
the other kind of little piece, I know you're having kind of, and I think somebody in the comment section put it in there, but you can also engage people in fun ways like this too. I think you had mentioned one time where you were giving out tumblers or something like that, where you'd shot out a text message, and scavenger hunts is something you're probably going to build upon too. But it's an
Right.
easy way to make it fun and engaging. I think Stacy's example is they're giving away tumblers at a booth, or I'll let you kind of give that story as well real quick before we move on. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one of the ways we use the text messaging while they were in the park. We would send out a text during the day that says, all right, everybody that signed into text messaging that day, okay, if you're in the park, we're giving away 5 Indiana Beach tumblers. First 5 people that show up to the shop gets them. My The manager of that shop would text us and be like, oh my God, these are gone in like 3 seconds. They like, people come running for it. So I think like from the feedback that we did get, you know, in the brief time we were able to do it last year, people really did enjoy it. The scavenger hunt it is probably in my top 3 of things to put together for this summer. Um, the tool that you guys have makes it super easy. It's the hardest part, honestly, is my end of it, right? Like,
The creative
how am I gonna
aspect,
do
we need to tap in Chat GPT to get those juices flowing for sure.
right,
But
right. Like
yeah,
my
yeah.
end of that is a lot harder than what you guys, you know, your end of it is all easy. It's like bang,
Yeah,
bang, bang. But my end is,
yeah,
you know, like doing I have some work to do on my end, but that is something that yes, we do plan on incorporating this summer. And I think the kids and the families will really, really embrace it.
perfect. Well, and then next slide, we'll dive into some mobile web app stuff to keep time-wise moving forward here. But
Yes,
real
sorry.
quick, no, you're not a problem at all. So mobile web apps, for those of you who aren't familiar with that term, we're all familiar with app, right? We all have 40 of them on our phone at any given time. And the differentiating factor here between a mobile web app and native app, which is just the fancy term for the application that you would download from the App Store, whether it be Android or Apple. But mobile web apps have the look, feel, and act just like a normal app that you would download from the App Store, only it's all going to be URL based, right? So it's going to be an ultra mobile device reactive kind of web page that looks and feels like an app, like I said. And we'll kind of discuss Stacy's. And if you want to scan that QR code there on the slide, it will pull up Indiana Beach's mobile web app. And please keep in mind that
I
Stacy
was just
is
about to say, I'm
still,
like, please.
no, it is still a little bit under construction, right? We're in between
Yes,
seasons right now. So, but it
yes.
is coming along fantastically. And I think it is a great example of what it can look like. And it's probably good for everybody to see, you know, what it can look like under construction too. You know, I mean, it is an ever evolving process with managing content like this, as I'm sure Stacy is very aware of. And I
Yes,
kind of
yes.
wanted to ask you what the building process has been like so far with the mobile web app.
Yeah, so I don't know about any of you out there, but I'm not the most, you know, I'm not a coder. I don't write in code at all. I do our websites and it's very builder friendly. This is, I mean, it's been super. I mean, it is, I don't know any other way to say it professionally. It is just super easy. All
Yep,
the
yep,
tools are
yep.
pretty much there. Yeah, I haven't, you know, like I would say the only challenge, the biggest challenge is that you need to come up, you know, like with your creative side, like they'll, you know, like those icons you see on there, those are actually pictures that I created. And I went through, I mean, you can ask Anna or Max, they probably looked at it. I seriously probably went through like 25 different ones before I kind of landed on that just because I'm weird like that. But there are so the templates that they give you and everything, it's really just plug and
Yeah.
play.
The
And
analogy I always use is because it's all drag and drop content building and maintenance and things like that. And like Stacy said, you don't need any coding knowledge or any kind of background in any high tech things or anything like that. And if you can build a PowerPoint, you know, I'm fairly confident that you can build a mobile web app through our platform. And one
if
of
I
the
can
things
do
I
it, you
wanted
can
to,
do it.
yeah, I love that too. Yeah, and I am not a
Just
software
easy as
engineer by
that.
any means. And one of the things I definitely, because when we were first, you know, kind of engaging on choosing Engage by Sell to be
Thank you,
your
Jennifer.
provider, one of the kind of things that kept coming up was native app versus mobile web app, and ultimately, why did you choose to go with a mobile web app versus a native app? You know, and go ahead. I'll let you elaborate on that.
So we, you know, we did our due diligence just like everybody else, looking at a number of different apps, app companies, providers, software. And at the end of the day, it really truly came down, at least for us, having a native app, of course, great. Coming along with that is a massive price tag. And it's also more of a, I don't know how to say it. I'm probably saying this wrong. It's more of a pull, right? So we could go out there right now and say, here's our native app. Go to the App Store, go to the Apple App Store, go to the Google Play Store, download our app, right? Like, but everybody can download a website. Everybody can hit a QR code. And what we want is you have families coming through your place. You need to make it as easy and accessible as possible. A mom with like 6 kids in tows aren't going to be like, wait, I have to download. Wait, does it need an update? And all that other stuff. It is boom. They're there. They are in. They are engaged. And the one of the nicest thing about it is that like I have on my phone. I don't know if you probably won't be able to really see it, but you're able to just, when they open up your the app, you're able to just download it, and you have an icon right on your Apple phone or Android phone
Yep.
or whatever. So it looks like an app sitting on your phone as well, but just the ease of
High
not
degree
them,
level of
not forcing them
accessibility.
to,
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
And it just makes sense, because you gotta remember, I make this mistake all the time. It's like, what's easier for me, but what's the best for your audience? Like, what's the best for that, type of consumer experience? And it is quick. What does everybody do? Everybody can hit a website. Everybody's on a website. Not everybody is comfortable downloading, the 205th app to put onto their phone. So,
Right. Right.
yeah, I really think I'm really thinking it is going to be well received this year. It's, the tools are great, and it's just really on me now, from putting on the marketing hat and not the building hat, on how to effectively get it, and
Yeah,
get them to
of course.
do it.
And I think you covered all the main bases here. I mean, with the advantages, one, it is very highly accessible for your park visitors, right? It's much easier to kind of break that download barrier that you face with native applications. Two, content, very easy to create, manage, update, keep updated, things like that. And three, kind of the challenges that it helps guests overcome of providing all that information. And part of that information, and I want to get to it because it's arguably, in my opinion, one of the coolest parts, is the GPS map. And just for time's sake, Anna, if you want to go to the next slide, pretty please. So this functionality is a blue dot GPS wayfinding capability. Now, when I say GPS wayfinding, everybody's like, what does that even mean, right? So everybody has gotten an Uber, everybody has navigated around on their phone, everybody has used their GPS on their phone to get from point A to point B, right? And what that blue dot wayfinding in its simplest form is, we take a map like of this one of Indiana Beach, and we can overlay it, right, on top of Google Maps. And within that, you're going to see yourself as the little blue dot navigating around the facility. And this really solves a multitude of issues that guests have when they're visiting a facility, but it also, on the flip side, enhances the facility's ability to highlight many different things within their offerings that maybe sometimes get overlooked, or they can provide real-time kind of information about the different attractions within the park. I know I'm super excited about it. I want to hear what Stacy's kind of ultimate goal is. What problem did it solve for Indiana Beach, and kind of what your experience to the end user is going to look like?
Yeah, so a little bit twofold here. As I said before, like, Indiana Beach is a long boardwalk, right? Like, it takes some time, especially if the park is crowded, to get from one spot to another, and then it has a depth to it. So it can be kind of intimidating sometimes when you get there. And so what we are looking to do is hopefully, help people navigate their day a little bit better. So family walks in, they walk in the south entrance, and it's like, I'm here with 5 little kids under the age of 5. Where is Kittyland, and how's the fastest way for me to get there? Because that was one of the things that we've heard from a lot of people is, where is this? Where is that? How do I get there? Oh my God, you have that shop. We missed it, that type of stuff. So those were some of the pain problems that we identified from some of our season pass holders and daily ticket buyers, that was a little bit of a problem or a concern that we were trying to solve. And we really think that, this is going to solve that problem. Like, we had a lot of people like, oh my God, I couldn't find a bathroom. Well, here, you got it. Here's the bathroom. Is there pizza served on the boardwalk? Well, they'll be able to go You know, I don't know if you can really see this, but no, you probably can't. But
See
you'll
it?
be
There
able
you
to,
go.
you know, like we're building out the map for it. So they'll be able to sit and go, okay, I just want to see dining. They can go dining. All our dinings will come up across all of the entire park. They'll be able to click into it, see a menu, see, and they'll be able to look right on their map. Like I'm the blue dot, and here's where I need to go. They'll get to places a lot faster and find the things that they need to do. And, you know, they, you know, hopefully not miss anything. You know, we're trying to close some of these gaps. Um,
Of
yes, and
course.
then from the other side, from a business perspective, real quick, you know, okay, so we saw a little bit of the consumer experience. What can we do to monetize a little bit better? We have a lot of people that, you know, we sell season passes and we sell daily tickets. And our goal every day is to get those daily ticket buyers to buy season passes. We want them to stick. And so, you know, we are going to be, you know, putting some stuff out on to make it easy on the mobile app to say, hey, we noticed you're a daily ticket buyer today. Head over here, you know, you're right there. Head over there and talk about a season pass. You can upgrade today for $20. So, you know, like those types of things that we're looking to monetize on the spot. Again, more so, we're also putting our lodging is going to be on there with little map marker pins. So we're going to be adding like, oh, you can stay in a lakeside cottage tonight for $89. They'll be able to click, and basically in 2 clicks after that, they'll be able to book that place for the night or whatever night they want.
That's
Those types of
fantastic.
things that we're working on right now for the mapping. I mean, we have, you know, it's February, and you know, I have a lot list like this of things I want to do, and that list is probably going to get longer come March. So
Well, I love it, and I think you kind of touched on all the bases here. Is enhancing the visitor experience to the highest degree possible, right? And you're within doing and accomplishing that, you're also highlighting in your attractions and things that maybe need more love. You can also give real-time update information in those points of interest. So the log flume or whatever it is, I can click on the log flume and it might be under repair or down for maintenance, right? Or something along those lines. And you can
right.
actually have that update be live in real time. And that way, before I've walked all the way a mile and a half down the boardwalk and got to the log flume and been upset that it's under maintenance, I can have that real time information at the same. So I think
Exactly.
that's
And
a really
that
key. Mhm.
Yeah, and to
Go
that
ahead.
point too, you hit it right there, Max, because not only for that, but one of the challenges that people do have, or I should say that they complain about, is, oh my God, I walked all the way over to the Hoosier Hurricane and it is 56 inches and now my kid can't ride it, you know? So they'll be able to at any given time be like, all right, here's all our coasters. What coasters can my kids go on? You know what I mean? And they'll, before they even take a step, they'll be able to map out their day just from a height perspective if they have, you know, children that fall in that.
Yep.
And I know that might sound a little petty but it's just a reality of
For
you know,
sure.
like the
I
family
keep thinking
days.
about that example you said of that mom with 3 little kids trying to, download an app and stuff like that. And that just
Right.
makes her like easier to be able to map the whole day out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
we want the kids to have as much fun, but we want to make it as easy as possible for the parents, because then when they walk out that door, they're going to be like, "That was a great day. We're coming back."
we're gonna come back. Exactly.
It's
Yep.
not
So
stressful, you know. Take that stress down a level for them, right? I mean, that's what we're trying to
100%.
do.
You want to hit the next slide, pretty please, Anna? All right, so we kind of touched on this a little bit, so we'll go through
Yeah.
it pretty quick. But rollout is obviously a very important part of implementing technology like this, and you kind of touched on some of the ideas and the creative aspects you have, where you're going to put signage on garbage cans, which is a great idea because everybody throws away things probably 5 different times when they go to an amusement park. I'm sure there's stats on all of that, but you're kind of in the process of how you're going to roll it out, and you kind of have some real examples from when you did last season, and you had a really high success rate with averaging between 20 to 150 people signing up for texting a day, which is phenomenal numbers. Just real briefly, 1 2 minutes, can you just kind of touch on what your intentions are, how you did it, what you hope to do in this upcoming season to help roll it out, and then we'll probably wrap up with some questions from everybody here.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I touched on some, you know, like you said, I think I touched on some of this before on
Mhm.
we put it out there. People come in, like you can see in the garbage can there, they scan when they walked in, or they could text Ivy Parks. Um, Going into this year, like I said, we are going to ramp up a lot bigger. It's going to go all through our campgrounds. When you check into our lodging, they're going to get, the welcome to Indiana Beach. Make sure you're sign up for text messages every day before you leave to go to the park. Make sure that you got your mobile web app up and going. See if there's anything. We're hoping to do like kind of a daily welcome to Indiana Beach. This is what's going on today type of maybe thing every day. I
Right.
don't know. Like I said, well, a lot of this stuff, I apologize. We're still kind of a work in process with it, but
Oh, no, no, no. And
um,
it's part of that. And I think, and you kind of before this call when we were chatting, um, I think every single park has a little bit different too, because as you mentioned, there's a handful of locations under your organization's umbrella, and some of the marketing strategies that work at Indiana Beach don't necessarily translate over here, and vice versa. And so I think the
right.
whole point is if you have 20 awesome creative ways that you can get that QR code in front of people, like your garbage cans, like you mentioned, you're going to put it in each of your lodging cabins. You can have a little A fold, whatever it is, when they check in. Hey, scan this to get the map to the park, and also incorporating it into that check-in process. And another huge piece is kind of creating the information barriers to access.
Yep.
You and I were talking the other day about how to kind of strategically make text messaging the barrier of entry to get to the mobile web app, right? So, like we all scanned that QR code earlier and text it in, you got a text back automatically, and that can provide the clickable link to the map. So, full circle simultaneously, you're capturing those folks' phone numbers so you can engage with them in real time while they're in your park and market to them in the future and upsell those season passes. And simultaneously, you're delivering that map into their hand and making it extremely convenient for them, all kind of in one action. So, and that's
Yeah,
all
you made
stuff.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
go
made a
ahead.
great point with that. I was literally doing it totally the other way. I'm like, wait, that's a lot smarter.
That's all right. Well, we have another minute or so here, Anna, if you want to hit the next slide and see. I see there are a couple future considerations. We'll skip that one for now, and I'll kind of cover it while we're answering some questions from everybody just for time's sakes. But how do we know who is a member versus a guest? So that's a good question, and there's a couple ways to go about that. You can create as many different lists as you want in our text messaging platform. This is probably something that Stacy hasn't explored fully yet, but you can create as many different kind of call to actions as you want. And so, for example, you could have a call to action be text member. You could have one be text guest. You can set all these different kind of keywords with their own unique QR codes that go into their own unique buckets, right? So yeah, we can backtrack to that future considerations real quick just so everybody can see it. And we'll definitely send out a copy of the slides. But something that Stacy touched on very briefly here with the future considerations earlier was staffing issues, right? So how do we recruit? How do we use text messaging to recruit? How do we use texting for kind of engagement in the employee training process? And then these mobile web apps also can become really fantastic internal kind of portals for all that seasonal training and HR information and new hire forms, even job applications, things like that. And it really helps promote open positions. And we have a large presence actually in kind of the workforce development community as well. And a huge part of that is just providing resources to those seeking jobs and things like that. But internally, Stacy, I know you had some ideas on how you kind of want to see and use it get used this way. Do you want to spit your quick little ideas and maybe
Yeah,
what
I
you're
mean,
looking to use it for?
I really just started looking at this like 6
Yeah.
5 or 6 days
Yep.
ago, but it seems to be that it might solve a pain that I have or we currently are having. You know, at amusement parks, obviously, most of our employees are teenagers. They're 15 years old, 15 to 22 years old for the most part, and we still are pretty archaic in the way of, go to our website, click here, read the job description, fill out an application, and then come in, or we might do a job fair. But I'm really considering streamlining this for all three of our parks and bringing it into this mobile web app, because bottom line, this is how teenagers want to react, right? Like, I mean, I have a teenager. I asked her about it. I go, would you be more apt to apply for jobs if you could just go on your phone and go bing, 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 bing here, or share jobs to your friends? Hey, they're hiring lifeguards. Share. He's like, yeah, mom, we don't go on websites. Like, that was the response out of a 17-year-old daughter. We don't go on websites. Yes. Put it like make it look like an app, and we will go sign it up. Send me a text. I'll forward your text. Like, these are the, I mean, obviously this is one little group of kids, but I think they're right.
I don't think it I don't know that it even is limited to just the teenagers anymore, to be honest, Stacy. I think,
Right.
we've all even tried doing those phone calls, and anybody who's ever been through the hiring process and trying to get people to answer their phones, everybody vets it out anymore.
Yep.
Everybody does. They're gonna wait for that voicemail. I might check that voicemail, et cetera, things like that, right?
They're not
And
checking it.
versus, yeah, exactly, versus having the ability and the power to push out a text, or we've all walked into that restaurant or walked into that building that had that QR code on the door that said, hey, we're hiring, scan this QR code to learn more, right? And this
Right.
enables you to have that capability. And
Exactly. And like the onboarding checklist, I'm an 18-year-old kid. Be like, hey, did you finish your onboarding checklist? You're dealing with 500 18-year-old kids. 90% of them are going to say, no, where do I go again? And you're going to have to
right.
refeed them out, links and
Yep.
everything. And they could just have, if they open their phone and they see right there, Indiana Beach,
I
recruiting,
love it.
HR, whatever you want to call it, that's easy for them. Oh yeah, here, boom, 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 I'm done. And
Perfect.
it's just, I think it's going to be a faster and much easier way to communicate with our seasonal employees.
Exactly. Well, thank you again, Stacy, for joining me today.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you for
having me.
everybody who's jumped on. If you do have any additional questions, feel free to throw them in the chat real quick. I know we went over time, but that's because Stacy and I love to chat, so that's okay.
I don't shut up often.
And we'll definitely be sharing the slides with everybody. And there is my information and Stacy's information. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to reach out. I know Stacy's a great resource. She's been an absolute pleasure to work with so far. So far, we got more time yet, but no.
So far. I'm going to hold you to this webinar. I'm going to download it.
And I'll be more than happy to set up demos and go over things and more. Are there case studies or clients within the museum industry? Absolutely. We have a large presence in the museum and kind of cultural center industry there, and be more than happy to show you some examples of what's out there and who's currently using it. And we have some additional exciting features that are museum specific as well. So can definitely help answer any of those questions. But thank you again, Stacy, and thanks for
Oh,
everybody who's joining us.
thanks. Bye.